We are 9 days away from the NBA trade deadline, and you're watching Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. He's Jeffrey Cooperstein. I am Harrison Graham. We got to talk about this game last night, Coop. We're going to get to some other stuff, kind of the Mavs roster outlook before the deadline, how things shake out. But my goodness, this was a wild one. I mean, they were down 77-61 at halftime. I literally text you. I'm like, 77 effing points? I mean, what is this team doing?
It was ridiculous.
Right now?
And they shot 60% in the first half, and they were down 16.
When you score 60-plus at halftime and are down by double digits, much less 16, that's a joke.
That's just the modern-day NBA. But, hey, they had a hell of a third quarter. I think they held the Magic to just 12 points in the third quarter. Jason Kidd went to a zone defense there to start the second half, and it really flustered the Magic. But let's not get it twisted. We all know the reason they won this game. The guy on the screen right here.
45, 9, and 15. He's, for the second time in his career, had a 45 and 15 game. He's done it in the last 5 weeks.
Only player in NBA history with multiple 45 and 15.
And he's done it in a 5-week period here. I mean, the guy's setting records like every other night, it seems like. He was sensational. Got to give Tim Hardaway his flowers. He had another one of those heater games. He had kind of been in like a mini slump the last few games, and he kind of does that, right? Like, he'll go in these little funks for 2 or 3 games, and then he'll just drop 30-plus. I mean, he had the 41-point game on MLK Day. Drops 36 here. They needed all 36 of them because it wasn't – Luka wasn't – this wasn't going to be a 73-point Luka.
It was not.
So he needed
only 45.
He needed only 45 and 15. You know, who's counting here? But he needed someone to run with him.
When Kyrie's out, he's missed his 4th straight game. I would be surprised if he played tomorrow night as well. So that would make it 5. They need someone to step up and be that second scorer, and Tim has done it basically this entire stretch here. He's been awesome. Like you said, he was cold for a couple of games, but other than that, I mean, he's been really good for this team this year. And
he's had a good year.
Kind of after all the trade rumors in the offseason about Mavericks need to move and whatnot, he's kind of answered those and then some.
And by far for Jaden Hardy, his best game of the year. I mean, up to this point, I would argue that he was more impactful last year.
For sure.
But 20 and 7 on 8 of 9 shooting, I don't think anyone expects him to do that all the time. But, like, there's no reason that he can't be a guy that averages 10 points a game off the bench.
Absolutely,
like, remember when we were talking about him being the 6th man coming into this year.
Because I assumed that Tim was going to get traded, and I thought Hardy was going to assume that role as 6th man. But he's been good the last couple of games. He's really starting to be aggressive on the offensive end, which is something he really hasn't been this season at all. He needs
to be. I mean, he's a scorer. And the 7 assist thing is intriguing to me. I mean,
absolutely.
If he can do more of that where he's dishing a little bit, like he's not going to average 7 dimes, but he can give you 2 or 3 a night. I mean,
he can be a piece for this team, man. I know his name's going to be involved in a lot of trade rumors over the next week or so, but I think he can be a piece for this team. Whether it's to go get a bigger player or whether it's to be involved in Jason Kidd's rotation going forward.
Well, if nothing else, you want him to play well for the next week because
no doubt.
You want that trade value to go up if you do go make a splash. So that was good to see. And D-Live, shout out to D-Live. You just did a short on this.
Yes.
Named to the Rising Stars game.
Congratulations to D-Live.
Congrats to him. I mean, one of his better games. Also 8 of 9, 20 and 11. I mean,
and he got whacked in the face. Yeah. Wendell Carter inadvertently more or less punched him in the face, and he was bleeding all over. Wendell ended up getting a flagrant 1. No harm, no foul. I think Carter tweeted after the game at him and told him my bad, and Lively said it's all good. So no bad blood there, but this team continues to just need Derek Lively in every game. I think he played 40 minutes last night as well. So
he's been tremendous, man. I mean, you can't say enough good things. He's an all-rookie type of player, man.
There's no doubt about it. The only problem is that the other rookies in his position are Chet and Victor.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said caliber, but,
yes.
He's more than worthy of being at the Rising Stars Challenge, whatever they're calling it these days. So I think future All-Star is definitely a possibility for him. Yes. So, and look, we continue to talk about when he's not out there, it shows.
It's bad.
So it's good.
Dwight Powell was wearing goggles last night because he has an issue with his eye and he likes to get hit in the face a lot. And then Lively gets hit in the face last night. So
goggles Lively?
It continues. Maybe Mask Lively. It could be tomorrow Mask Lively. So we'll see what happens. They have a big game against Minnesota tomorrow. So
if you go Mask Lively, do you tuck the hair under the mask some?
No, hair would go around the mask, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it goes around.
I'm intrigued by Mask Lively look, but he was tremendous. And
I just wanted to throw it back to Luka here for a second.
Yeah, this stretch for Luka has been unbelievable.
I mean, look at this. 73 points, 10 boards, 7 assists. 28, 10, and 17 in a loss, mind you, on the second night of a back-to-back in 46 minutes. 43 minutes last night, 45, 9, and 15. I mean, and he didn't win Western Conference Player of the Week, by the way.
That's a joke.
It was Devin Booker. It's insane to me.
I just worry, I know he's having to play more because Kyrie's out right now, but
Well, you read my mind because this is kind of where I wanted to throw this discussion to. He can't keep playing this many.
It's just too much. Look, he's clearly better than James Harden. I'm not making the comp, but we saw this in Houston where
Absolutely.
he would play these crazy minutes and then he'd be gassed by the playoffs.
No,
I know Luka 2 years ago, he was awesome throughout the playoffs. I get all that, but it's not even just about this. It's not a sustainable career model where you're playing 40 plus a night. And it's not just that he's playing the minutes. It's that he's playing the minutes and the usage rate is
he's
just
taking
off
a
the
beating.
charts. Everything runs this guy. Oh, and by the way, he's still your best rebounder, basically. So it's too much.
They need Kyrie to get back soon, man, and God knows when he's going to be back.
Call me crazy. His first game back, just sit Luka. Give him a.
I'm not
serious.
opposed, honestly.
I know they need to play together because they have not done none of that in the year and a half they've played together. But
here's actually what I would do if I were Luka. I would just not go to the All-Star game. I would go to Mexico for a week.
Go to Cabo.
Take whatever fine the NBA gives you, whatever it is, you can afford it. He needs some sort of rest, and hopefully he can get it soon with Kyrie back. Like I said, I don't expect Kyrie to play tomorrow night, but hopefully he's back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I remember when he was going to play through that injury. And
Kyrie himself said he was going to play through the injury, and now he's about to miss 5 straight games.
Not to be. If you love what Luka and the Mavs are doing right now, especially Luka, hit that like button. How can you not? I mean, I just can't get over the 73-point game.
73 was,
and they almost lost.
They needed 68 of those 73. It was insane. I tweeted this. It was the greatest individual performance I've ever watched live. I wasn't in person for it, but it was just ridiculous. Help us get to 200 likes on today's show. If you like what Luka's doing for the Mavericks, hit that thumbs up icon.
Pump up the likes.
Now.
Pump up the likes. All right, more to get into here in just a little bit, but we do have Prize Picks as our sponsor. Listen, daily fantasy made easy. You're not playing against pros. You're not playing against sharks. It's just you versus the stat projections. You can play NBA. You can do college basketball. You can cross over sports with your picks. You can also get going on Super Bowl Sunday here in about 12 days. That's going to be fantastic. Patrick Mahomes, they got a little gimme
Mavs
for
fan.
you to hit the Mavs fan as well. Hit the more on the passing there. It's a gimme, half a yard, obviously. Isaiah Pacheco's been a touchdown machine this year. I like him to find the end zone. Deebo Samuel is a great player, but the Chiefs defend receivers really well at those corners, but they don't always defend running backs well out of the backfield. I like Christian McCaffrey to have a big game receiving the football. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. Put down $10, they'll match it $10. $50, they'll match it $50. $100, they'll match it. Join comedian Andrew Schultz, rapper Meek Mill, and several other celebrities as well. Prize Picks, link is in the comments and in the description. All right, Coop, we're not really talking about specific trade rumors today, but just kind of an overarching look at where things sit. Will the Mavs make a trade 9 days away till that deadline? And I do think you and I are in agreement that if a trade does not occur, there's a clear ceiling. I think the absolute best case scenario is probably the second round.
Yeah, I would say so
without
as well.
a trade.
If they don't get an impact guy here in the next 9-10 days at the trade deadline, or even in the buyout market, I don't see this team going further than the second round.
Yeah.
Today, I just kind of wanted to break down kind of like the tiers that this roster is in right now. So let's start with the untouchables. I think these are your 3. These are the guys that will not be moved under any circumstance.
Yeah.
Obviously, Luka. I think Kyrie's obviously still in that category. And Derek Lively is in that category for me as well, given his importance.
Kyrie's in it too because, it's not that no teams would want him, but if you traded him, you're not getting an upgrade.
Exactly.
His value isn't high enough where you can upgrade there, so you're not trading him. And then Derek Lively, I mean, unless the Sixers decided to trade Joel Embiid.
Right.
But, he's untouchable based on what you could get. So I can in complete agreement with that assessment.
And then these are the guys who I view as key pieces. They're not untouchable, but the Mavs would need a pretty big haul in order to part with these guys at this point in time, given how important they are to the team.
Yeah.
Dante Exum and Derek Jones, 2 absolutely great free agent signings for the Mavericks. Both of them are kind of struggling with injuries right now, and they're in and out of the lineup, but they've been really important.
What makes them so valuable is just how little they cost for what they produce.
They're
so
minimums.
like if you're trading them, like I mean, you either got to get some like pick compensation to then flip for another trade, or it has to be a part of like players like an all-star almost. And that's definitely true with Tim. Like at this point, we've been hard on Tim in the past, but like he's
too important to this team.
If you trade him, I think it has to be for an all-star.
Absolutely. He's simply too important to this team right now and what they're doing, especially with Kyrie Irving out. Tim is the guy that has stepped up time and time again.
Yeah, then Omax, he isn't necessarily critical to what this team is going to do this year, but in terms of valuable asset, he falls into this category. Like, you're not just going to dump him for nothing 50 games into his career.
And I do still think he's a critical piece in the future. I have full belief in Omax as a player. He's just not quite there yet.
The tools are there.
Yes, absolutely. And they'll keep developing him in the G League this year, and I think he will be a key part of this team, in the future at least.
Tradables, Grant Williams, good sign. He's been playing better last couple of games.
No doubt.
So certainly not to what you're hoping for consistently, but maybe at least to the point where you could flip him. Jaden Hardy, same deal. He's playing better. I still love his potential, but you'd have to be willing to flip him for a clear rotation piece. Josh Green, kind of same deal, just on a higher level. Like, he's a solid rotation player, but like if you can upgrade, I think you do. And then Seth Curry, he's probably more in that like salary filler type of mold, but there might be a team that views him as a valuable sniper off the bench. He just, with the positional backload and inconsistent play out of him, he just has not really found a rotation spot here.
Yeah, I think if the Mavs are to make a deal at the deadline, I think it's going to involve one of these four guys. More so likely the top three. Like you said, Seth Curry is probably more of a salary matcher at this point, but I think Grant Williams and Josh Green still do have value throughout the league, as well as Jaden Hardy, because, I mean, look, we saw he can score in a hurry, and a lot of teams are looking for scoring.
He's cheap, too. Like, there's a lot of value there with what bringing him on board does. We mentioned Seth Curry as a potential salary guy. Definitely applies to these guys, especially like a Rashawn Holmes. But even Kleba and Powell. I mean, Kleba, we talk about off camera, like, he's not thick enough to be a center, and he's too slow to play four. So it's like
the brother's cooked.
Too many injuries, man. It's a shame too, because
he was a damn good player for this team for a while, and they signed him to that extension thinking he was going to be that guy. Ended up getting hurt last year and really hasn't recovered. Rashawn Holmes is absolutely cooked. We know that. He has, I believe, a player option for next year, which I would assume he picks up. And we know Dwight Powell's Dwight Powell, so that's all I got to say.
Look, I mean, Dwight Powell is a great number 3 center.
That's what he is.
But he has to be the backup here, and that's a problem.
If the difference between getting a trade done was $4 million and Dwight Powell was the guy they wanted,
absolutely,
the Mavs are throwing him in there. Yeah. Hopefully, I say hopefully.
I would think so. And then this is like the two-way / who cares. Markieff Morris is the new Theo Pinson. He just at least can play a
He's for the vibes.
He can play a tick if you absolutely need him. Actually, the few times Lawson's played, he's actually been all right.
I think A.J. Lawson has a little something to him.
He could be a guy, Coop, that, like, if there's some major shakeup at the deadline, like, where he, like, finds himself some more minutes. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that for
Like,
sure.
if there's a volume trade where you bring in one guy and ship out 2 or 3, like, he could be a guy that gives you more minutes.
And Jason Kidd has shown that he will play A.J. Lawson in certain games when the Mavs are shorthanded. He's been in the rotation early and often in games before. I'm not exactly sure how many more games he's eligible to play because you have the 50 maximum on the two-way deals, but I like A.J. Lawson, and I actually do think he has some value of these four.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, what do you guys think? Will the Mavericks make a trade before the deadline, yes or no? I do think they will. Now, it could be as little as, like, some, $5 million guy off the bench, but the Mavericks are typically pretty active, Coop. Like, if I had to guess, 72% chance they make a trade.
Yeah, I think they're going to make a trade as well. If I amended this and said, are they going to make a major trade, I would probably say no, but I do think they will make some sort of move, whether how minor it'll be remains to be seen.
And if they don't make a trade, they will do something in the buyout market. Like, there will be a new player on this team within a week of the trade deadline.
I love a Gordon Hayward to the Mavericks rumor on NBA trade deadline day.
I'm in.
I'm in on that.
Let's make it happen. All right, he's Coop. I'm Harrison. Shout out to Luka. The guy's been tearing it
Unbelievable.
up. We will catch you guys up on every rumor that circulates between now and the trade deadline. So don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications. We'll see you guys very soon. Go Mavs.